This is the inside of the Auto Sleeper Broadway ELSE. If I firstly move to the main control panel, you can see that it's displaying the external temperature just here. It's also letting us know that we're currently connected to mains electricity with the little picture of the lightning strike just there. It's then giving us the humidity and the internal temperature of the motorhome. To turn the 12 volt on, just press here. And then over this side we have the main isolator for all of the onboard lights. These can then all be individually turned on and off on their own switches. Awning light on and off just there, and it will also do the door entrance light as well. Water pump on and off just here. We need the water pump on so we can get water out of the taps, fill the boiler if it has been drained down, and flush the toilet. We have levels just here, so this first one will give us a level reading of how much water is in the fresh tank and how much water is in the waste tank. And then we have power levels just here. So we've got condition of the leisure battery, condition of the vehicle battery, the active batteries amps, the mains current just there, and the solar current just here. Battery selection just here, so L for leisure, V for vehicle. Whichever battery you've selected on here is the battery you are using to run the back end of the motorhome, but if you are also connected to main supply, this is the battery you are charging. If I now press the picture of the cog, this will take us into the settings menu. As you can see, it just goes round in a circle. So we have power settings just here. It's easy to just leave it all in smart mode for charging. Automatic tank fill just here. This needs to be turned on if you are going to fill the freshwater tank up using the whale filler hose. And then we have tank heaters just here. So if these are activated and the temperature outside drops below about 3 or 4 degrees, the heaters will come on to avoid any frost damage occurring to the tanks. Lights that will come on when you turn the control panel on. As you can see, they're all in the off position at the moment. This is literally just down to personal preference. Key beeps on and off. Water level alarms for both fresh and waste tanks on and off. Tank fill beeps on and off as well. And then we also have set the backlight level and how quickly this screen times out when you're not touching it. Set your time and date. And then your Truma heating settings just here. So at the moment they're set in manual mode, which means that you control it by actually just touching it here or via the Truma app. What you can also do if you want is put it out of manual mode and then set timers through here. If I now move across to the Truma control panel, we can turn it on just by pressing the button just here. And then you will see as I begin to rotate the button, they will begin to flash. So if we start with the first icon just here, this one is either for your heating or your air conditioning. So if we start with the heater first of all, if I now press on it, you'll see that the heater is off. And if I begin to rotate, I can pick whatever temperature I would like it to be inside the motorhome, right the way up to 30 degrees. Once you've decided on a temperature, just click again to store it in. And you'll now see a little flame has appeared above. That little flame there just represents the heating system, and it's just letting you know that you've set a parameter. Whenever the heating is in operation, the flame will begin to flash, and it will continue to flash until it's achieved the temperature you have asked. If I now go back into the heater and I now turn it back off again, We can then go back in, rotate and go to AC. So we have air conditioning just here, so you'll see that it's off at the moment. We can put it in vent mode, cool mode. Hot is not applicable on this particular model, and then we can also have it in auto. So let's say that we just want it in cool mode. Click on it, pick the temperature, again just then store it in, and then the air conditioning will then come on. If I go right to the end, we can control the speed of the fan, so we can have it in low, mid, high, or we can set it into night mode, so it's a lot quieter if you need the air conditioning on whilst you're asleep. And again, if I now go into the air conditioning, we can then turn it back off again. With your heating, your fan speed can either be eco, high, and from a very cold level you can also select boost. Next we have hot water, and again hot water is off, and if I begin to rotate we can heat the hot water in eco mode, which will give us a water temperature of about 40 degrees. We can heat in hot, which will give us a temperature of about 60 degrees, and we can also perform a boost. If we perform the boost and the heating's running, the heating will turn off as it needs to use that extra power to perform the boost. After heating and air conditioning and hot water, we then have power source. So power source is selected for both heating and hot water. Obviously with air conditioning it will only work if you have main supply connected. So at the moment, to do both heating and hot water, I am using mains electricity using 2 kilowatts. If I rotate the button, I can lower the power consumption to 1 kilowatt, which is very handy if we're on a low amp site. We can run in dual fuel, so we can run on a mixture of gas and mains at 2 kilowatts or a mixture of gas and mains at 1 kilowatt. These two settings are very handy, especially in the winter months of the year if you want to get up to temperature nice and quickly. It will only consume the gas as it's required. And then lastly, if we have no main supply, we can solely run on gas. After the circulation fan for both the heating and the air conditioning, we then drop to the lower icons. This first one here is for a very basic timer. So we can set when we would like everything to turn on, and then we can obviously set when we would like it to end, and then we then just decide what we would like on within that time period. Obviously that's a lot more basic. You can set more timers either on this control panel just here, or the easiest way to do it is on the Truma app itself on your smartphone or tablet. Next we just have the lighting controls for the air conditioning unit. So it's off at the moment, and if I begin to rotate it, we can brighten it up and we can dim it back down again or turn it off. It has a level 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1, and then off. Clock set just here. And then lastly we have the settings menu next to the little symbol indicating we're connected to main supply. So within the settings menu we have offset, which is just for the thermostat just here. So if you don't think it's quite correct, you can just slightly adjust it. We have AC set just here. So again, this is just to adjust the thermostat in the air conditioning unit. Automatic climate control. Really you can have this turned off because you've already got automatic climate control actually within the functions of the air conditioning unit anyway. Temperature, if you prefer it set in Celsius or Fahrenheit. Brightness of this screen, 12 or 24 hour clock. Language, Index, which is more for technicians, it just lets them know what software it's running. And then lastly, full factory reset. So from time to time, these control panels can throw up error codes. They will usually be something relatively basic. So this control panel is actually connected to the main 12 volt control panel just here. So if I now actually turn off the 12 volt, it should now throw up an error code. And an error code will be a warning triangle and then a series of letters and numbers. So W255H is that it's lost 12 volt. So if I now restore the power, usually 9 times out of 10 the error code will just automatically disappear. If that isn't the case, just go back to the little warning triangle and double press on it, and then it will sometimes say no error and then disappear. If you still have no luck, if you still have items operating, just turn them all off, because it can reassess a lot faster when it's not doing lots of things at once. If that still doesn't solve the issue, I always suggest the good old-fashioned turn it off, turn it back on again. And the way we turn this control panel off is just by holding the button in until it says off. If when you turn it back on again you still have an error code, I always then suggest the factory reset, because sometimes that is all that's required. Other error codes you may get are: I do not have main supply and I do not have gas. The iNet box to connect the heating and hot water system to your smart device is just in the overhead locker just here. So to connect up to your device, firstly download the Truma app. Once you've done that, make sure your Bluetooth is turned on and then launch the app. When you launch the app, you will see a button that says remote control. Press that and then follow the on-screen instructions. It will firstly tell you to come to this unit and press the Bluetooth button. Once you've done that, you'll be able to connect up to it, and once you're fully connected, you will then be able to control your heating, your hot water and your air conditioning via the app. You can also add a pay-as-you-go SIM card if you wish and register this through the app. The SIM card basically slots in at the top here where my finger is, and then you will be able to control your heating, hot water and air conditioning from much further afield. If I now come to the lounge area and just remove the cushions, we can now see tucked in the corner just here the Truma boiler. So with the Truma boiler, all you really need to know about it is how to drain the boiler down for winterization, and it's all just done on the boiler drain valve just here. These boiler drain valves are also automatic, so if it's in the closed position and the temperature inside the motorhome drops below about 3 or 4 degrees, it will automatically open itself and drop all the water out of the boiler to frost protect itself. If you are going to manually drain the boiler down, you will need to firstly make sure the water pump is turned off, and then come to this blue diamond and twist it. When we twist it, a blue button is going to pop out at the bottom of the unit, and it will then drain all the water out of the boiler. I always suggest that you also go around and open up all the taps as well, because this will help release any airlocks in the system and help it drain down far more efficiently. When it comes to refilling the boiler, twist and then push the blue button in at the bottom, fill up the fresh water tank, turn on the water pump, and then it will begin to refill the boiler. The taps will cough and splutter as they begin to force the air out of the system. Once they're running freely on both hot and cold, reclose and the system will fully reprime itself. If this is auto drained itself, all that will happen is the blue button will just pop out at the bottom, and all you need to do is just push it back in to reset it. If it will not stay in, it's just too cold in the motorhome, and you will need to turn your heating on to generate some heat to allow it to reset. The only time we're touching the blue diamond is when we are manually draining the boiler down. Next to the boiler, if I just lift this section up, you'll see we have a couple of gas isolation taps just here for both the boiler and the fridge. I always say they are more for maintenance than anything else, and if you do smell gas in the motorhome, go to the source and turn off the gas tank. Underneath here we have the lithium leisure battery. And then we have some 12 volt fuses just here. They are labelled up and they're mainly for components on the outside of the motorhome. So if anything is not working, just check to see if one of these fuses has blown. And then we have the main Sargent consumer unit just here. So we've got the main trip switches just here. So we have the 3 individual MCBs and then the main RCD and the test button just there. So if anything is not working on main supply, just check to see if you've tripped at this point here. And then we have the 12 volt fuses just here. If any of these blow, a red light will appear underneath it, so it makes easy troubleshooting. So again, if anything is not working on 12 volt, just check to see if a fuse is blown. Isolator switches just here for components that use main supply. So this one is for the Truma heating and hot water. So if this is turned off and you're trying to run the heating and hot water on main supply, you will just get an error code on the control panel. We then have the battery charger isolator just here. So again, if that's turned off, you will not be able to charge either the leisure or vehicle batteries via the main supply. This will illuminate if you have reverse polarity connected to the motorhome. This can sometimes be found on some continental sites. And then up here we have full system shutdown. So if you're not using the motorhome for long periods of time, you can press this and it will then kill any residual draw on the leisure battery. If you do this though, it will also shut down the solar panel on the roof as well, as the solar panel regulator is all built into this unit. Under the rest of the bench seats is storage. Thetford fridge freezer just here, on and off, just here. This is an automatic model, so as long as you are on A for auto, it will find the best power source it can for you. So because we're currently connected up to main supply, it's put us onto mains with the little picture of the 2-pin plug just here. If I was to now run outside and pull the mains lead out, it would then automatically attempt to fire itself up onto gas. And then as soon as we start the engine of the motorhome, it will then automatically switch over to 12 volt maintain to keep the fridge cold whilst on the move. As you can see, the screen will disappear after a few seconds, but you can see that the fridge is still active on the on and off button just here. If I tap the square just there, it will re-bring it back up again to let you know what it's up to. And if I want to change anything, just hold the button in and it will then begin to flash. So I can take it out of automatic if I wish, so I can manually put it onto mains. I can manually put it onto 12 volt maintain, and I can manually put it onto gas. But auto is the easiest function to have it on. Once you've selected that, it then moves across to temperature control, and again just use your arrows to pick the temperature. If there is a problem with the unit in any way, so if I now just again take it out of auto and I select 12 volt maintain, it will begin to flash and you'll get a red light instead of a blue light just here. The reason this is flashing at the moment is because I'm trying to run it on 12 volt without the engine running. very large fridge and a very good size freezer compartment at the top. Above the fridge we have storage, but we also have in here the digital amplifier for the television aerial on the roof, on and off just underneath it, and then control the boost just here. This is a static aerial, so you do not have any masts or anything that need to be raised and twisted. Also in here we have the mobile Wi-Fi unit, on and off on the circle just here. At the moment it's requiring the SIM card, which is in the book pack. All you need to do to insert the SIM card is just remove the backing plate, take out the battery and then pop it in, and then you then just need to literally use your device, search for the Wi-Fi, pay the subscription, and then you can then use that particular SIM card. Obviously you can use your own SIM cards as well. Wardrobe just here, and in here we have the large freestanding table, and then we have the table pole for the smaller table, which is located behind the driver's seat. This smaller table can be dropped into the hole in the floor just here. More storage beneath it, and we also have the pressure switch just here for the water pump. So if you do find that the water pump is massively overrunning or shuddering quite badly, you can slightly adjust it just on here. Only very fine movements though, never twist it round quickly, or otherwise you will throw it completely out of sync. The air conditioning unit can also be controlled via this remote control, and it works exactly the same way as either through the app or on the Truma control panel. On and off just here, select your mode just here, fan speed, temperature control just here, and if you slide this section down you then also have the ability to set timers etc. as well through here as well. TV connection points just here, main socket, and then if you push down on this bit here it will then pop up, and it has 2 USB charge points as well. Washroom just here. So we've got the Thetford toilet. The bowl does swivel around, open to the cassette just on the grey lever just here, and then push to flush on the top just here. Do make sure that the water pump is on, or otherwise it will not work. Level indicator just here, so this will rotate round to red when the cassette needs emptying, and then reclose the cassette back up again. If this is left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you do feel resistance, just make sure that nobody has left it open. We then have the basin just here. And then the shower. With the shower you've got the swing wall unit, so this just comes around out of the way, and then you then just pull the shower screen across. All of these top lights are just touch. Above the hob we have the extractor fan, 2 fan speeds, and then we have 2 light levels as well. electric hot plate just here, so this will work when the motorhome's connected to main supply, and it operates just here. We then have the 3 gas burners, and it's just push in, twist and push the igniter. Beneath that is the grill, and again just push in, twist and push the igniter. And then the oven. Beneath the oven we have pots and pan storage. Tucked right at the very back is the plug for the electric hot plate, and then there is also another gas isolation tap for the cooker. Sink just here. And this little tool here is just to remove the aerator if it needs cleaning. Bank of sockets just here, and then above that is the microwave. Again, this will work when the motorhome's connected to main supply. Its isolator switch is just here, and this particular microwave does not require a microwave plate. With the rear bed, it's just a matter of slightly lifting up and then pulling both sections out, and then it's just a matter of popping in the backrest cushions. The passenger seat does rotate round, and it just rotates round on this red lever just here.